Alright, we are Team 3, and our project for our senior capstone is Tales of Palagius. My name is Austin Garrison. I am in the software development track, and I was a developer and programmed the core gameplay.
My name is Molly Bischoff. I am in the software development track, and my role was in save functionality and user interface.
Hi, my name is Austin Kirk. I am in the software development and game dev and simulation tracks. I worked as a developer and on UI design.
My name is Krista Phillips, and I am information technology with a cybersecurity track, and I was security and game testing.
My name is David Humphreys. I'm on the network and systems administration track, and I was lead tester and assistant graphic designer.
So our game is Tales of Palagius, which is a roguelike dungeon crawler RPG with randomly generated adventure every playthrough. The story follows Palagius, who is an elderly adventurer sharing tales from his youth. With his old age, he often misremembers crucial details from his adventures. This creates a random adventure for the player to challenge themselves each time they play through.
The problem we were solving was money's tight right now, and players have to choose wisely what they want to purchase. AAA titles these days can be up to $70 at release, and there's often little to no replayability. This trend leads to stale gameplay and leaves the player wanting more. This can be because the player beats the game in only a few hours. Average play time is only 30 to 40 hours for most new titles, or the game is just another sequel to games they've already played. Whatever the reason, this type of stigma around current video games is driving longtime players and fans away from the hobby of video games. How do we combat this and create a game that feels fresh and new every time you play it?
For our solution, we determined that two areas promoted game longevity, rewarding gameplay and new experiences. Tales of Pelagius gives players a different adventure with each playthrough. Randomization examples include map layouts, enemy locations, starting equipment, and end-level bosses. These changes allow the game to feel fresh and will allow for endless possibilities. Players level up by unlocking new weapons that carry out to their next playthrough. These weapons make the player stronger and help them make it further into their adventure with each adventure. These features give players gameplay longevity, countering the trend of players quickly losing interest in new games.
Some of the technologies and tools we used to make our game was Unity and Visual Studio, along with C# for programming, AE Sprite and Blender for visuals and graphics, Cakewalk for music, GitHub for backups, and Easy Save for player saving.
Now a little overview of some of our features. Easy Save is a feature that is a paid asset from the Unity Asset Store. It simplifies local saving in Unity games. This allows players to save their progress, stop playing, and come back and resume later. The inventory system was a collaborative effort between myself and Austin Kirk, which allows players to pick up items from the world and hold them for later use.
The next system we have is the chest system, which was also worked on by Molly and I, which allows us to put different items in storage space that the player can interact with. It has a random element to it, meaning that every time a chest is open, the player gets a random chance to obtain different types of items. Currently in our game, the health potion is the only thing working, so it spawns 100% of the time, but in the future we plan on adding more items. Next up, we have our map, which works like this. Once a player kills all the enemies in the area, they're able to walk into an area on the map, or an area where the map will trigger. This causes the map to pop in front of the player's face and pauses the rest of the game. From here, they can click a button on the map and it loads them into the next part of the adventure.
When the player gets to the end of their map, they are always presented with a boss battle, a test of strength, if you will. Depending on which route the player chose on his map, this battle could be a slight breeze or a difficult hurricane. If the player defeats the boss, they were presented with a new map, which allows them to continue Pelagius through his adventure into a new environment. And starting off in the main menu here, we're going to take a look at the settings, and we've included a couple options that you're going to see in most games, such as quality settings, up that or lower that, your resolution, which is just based on your monitor. We have texture quality and windowed mode, and these are a few of the options that do work. To go back to audio, you can lower the master volume. FX right now is just the fireplace. If we lower that, the fireplace goes off. And then music, of course, is just the music. Or you can just straight up mute everything. And when we head back to the main menu there, we can start off with a new adventure, but we're going to continue up where we last saved in our game. Now we're going to head towards the top where the gate is in order to get to the next area.
kill the slime, and then since he's the last enemy, the gate opens, and the map comes up. We're right here. Only place we can go is this health upgrade. And when you go to an upgrade spot, there's not going to be any enemies. It's just a safe spot for you to do your thing. We have 2 hearts now. Pick that up. Now we have 3. Proceed on to the boss fight. And then the boss fight uses a different kind of AI. It uses decision trees. So I will overlay that over the screen just so you can see what the boss is thinking. Get up here. He's coming out. He's got a health bar that pops up. Gonna spawn up some minions that take some blows for him. Could swing his sword if you're close enough. Throw a coin bag at you, which explodes. But once he is dead, if I can actually kill him, then the fight ends. The door is open. You'll hit the remaining minions, and you can get a chest upgrade. Open that up. Gives you a little potion in the corner there, and then we can leave. And once we're out, then it tells you that you can exit to the menu or continue on and bring Palagius closer to the end of his quest.
Although there wasn't much security involved for an offline video game, we managed to have a few security aspects that were built in, which included Easy Save, which encrypts the video game save file and allows you to save the data as keys and values. And then we have Anti-Cheat, which in our game would block players from unlocking certain weapons or levels ahead of time, as well as not allowing them to have any type of auto-aim feature that can make the game easier for them to complete. What didn't work out for me was some code for Anti-Cheat that I had made, and we had trouble converting it from Python. And I was also new to game development, so learning certain programs was difficult for me. I ended up working on a security analyst report in the meantime.
There were a few other limitations we encountered while developing the game. Working in Unity was a challenge that many of us wanted to experience. We all have a passion for playing video games, but most of us had never actually tried to make one before. Time is always a constraint in these types of lengthy projects, but I think the factor that slowed us down the most was trying to have 2 people collaborate on the same testing scene. Unity doesn't respond well to multiple people testing on the same scene, and this forced us to create multiple different testing scenes and work more individually. For playtesting, Krista and I developed a template for testing the various features and functions of the game. We would test independently and then compare notes to make sure nothing was overlooked. This allowed us to provide feedback to the main developers. And periodically, as the developers updated their files, we would perform another round of testing against the new files to see which issues had been addressed and what new issues had come up. Our lead developers did a great job, and most of the issues we found were simply features they hadn't put in yet. Still, our feedback helped them ensure the game was working as intended.
Right, and then as we continue to develop Tales of Palagius, we want to add more world environments such as a desert, a dark cave, or even a freezing Arctic. Each environment will have more enemies, more bosses for the player to fight, both of which will give them more items to collect and muscle through Pelagius' adventure. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to watch our project